Super. All right. Thank you, Leah. For those of you who don't know me, I think everybody knows me. I'm Mark Dakota. I'm the chairman of the board of directors, and I want to welcome everyone to our 2021 annual meeting. And we are holding this meeting via Zoom online due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And just thank you all for taking the time to join us this evening. I have one thing that I'm going to do, which is to review the 2019-2020 annual meeting minutes. Board members, have you had an opportunity? This is from the March 15, 2019 meeting, right, Leah? This
Yes,
predates me.
and actually, I do have the 2020 um, minute meetings, but it looks like it was just our regular board meeting, and it didn't include
Okay.
the annual meeting. So
Okay,
I
but
can
we
post
did
those
not,
for later.
as far as I remember, we have not acted on these annual meeting minutes
Correct.
to this point. So I think it would be proper to, first of all, review these minutes and get a formal vote so they can go into the records as being adopted. So do I hear anyone have you had a chance to look at the minutes? Alan, you're going to have to tell us whether or not they accurately reflect what was done back then, because I think you're the only sitting board member from that time period. You're muted.
Well, in as much as I don't have them,
Oh, okay.
they look great to me.
All right. Well, let's do this then. If you can't comment on them, because I would want you to, let's just table them, because I don't want to adopt the minutes if you can't kind of give us the high sign that they're good to go. All right. So we will hold them until the next board meeting. But Leah, if you can add them, please, to the agenda next time so that we can take care of them.
Sounds good.
All right. So it's been as with many organizations and especially nonprofits, been a very challenging year. And I want to begin the meeting by thanking Leah for all of her hard work in keeping us on track and providing whatever programming we could provide during the pandemic. It's been a challenge everywhere, and Leah, you've done a fantastic job, and we really do appreciate that. And I'd like it to be public record that we want to thank you for everything that you've done for the last year. And along with that, for all of the planning that you've done for our upcoming programming through the rest of 2021 and into 2022. So thank you very much, and just really appreciate it. I think I will turn it over to you, Leah, and let's hear your director's report. We're going to do the director's report, our annual financials, and then we'll take any public comment that there may be. So go ahead.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, board, for being here this evening. And I see that we have two folks. I don't recognize one of the public participants just because I don't recognize the name there. But thank you all so much for being here. And I really have enjoyed, and it's interesting to see how things evolve both with our board and with the organization. So I feel very supported right now by the community. I think the Ray Center is supported by the community. And my director's report at this point, I'd like to just kind of review for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with the town report, which was my summary of kind of what we did in 2020. Given the nature of the year, I think that we found some really big opportunities in the town, namely as the season progressed and we kind of all were faced with a situation where we obviously couldn't do regular indoor programming, that our gardening really took off. And it was a great thing for me to watch so many people come out and to reach out to the Ray Center for a way to be involved in the environment other than going for a hike. And so I was so thrilled that throughout last summer we could engage the folks who were in town as much as we could. And that really kind of has led to several things. But the gardening was amazing last year. We were able to do a moderate amount of youth programming, again, through outdoor story time, and as the weather was agreeable, we would do some fun little art programs out there for kiddos. Unfortunately, last year we weren't able to participate in New Hampshire Music Festival. They were right on it with regard to the COVID needs, and they canceled their season in their regular format. They did a fair amount of virtual pieces, and I'll speak to that in a moment. But we found that there were some programs that really lent themselves to this format, and I know many of us are tired of being on the screen. I've had conversations with people, oh my gosh, here I am again on the screen. But I think that it really can actually be effective. It's effective in meetings. It makes us communicate. It allows us to communicate a little bit more. And we were really, I was personally surprised how well certain things like our speaker series and our literary discussion group continued on and actually grew, being virtual. There were people who are often seasonal participants who were able to continue on year round. And where in the cottage for our speaker series, if we had 16 people, it felt relatively full. It's like, okay, that's good. And that's been kind of our bare minimum for most of our speaker series now, online, where, and a handful have been 30 and up. I think that we had up to one of our programs had 70 participants, and that's pretty neat to be able to do that. And I think that even as we find that maybe we don't have to do as much online, that there are some reasons to continue certain programs virtually. And so I'm in discussion with a couple of those the main folks who participate in both the literary discussion group and the speaker series to see how we want to take that on. But I loved seeing that just continue to be successful. That kind of got us through 2020. We were able to continue our general operations. We were moving forward, and towards the end of the year, we really realized that this great group of people, it was pretty amazing to see what happened to the Valley with folks coming up. And I know I've said this publicly before. I was a little bit taken aback by how many people came up, and it's been, for the most part, pretty great. And it's nice to see a community come alive and have some influx of energy, and to see so many kids behind me. I'm not at the cottage right now, but every school recess is one class out there, and last year that would have been the whole school. So I love seeing that much energy. So I kind of feel like the summary of 2020 is we came through it, and we're a small nonprofit organization, and we made it through. And I'm so grateful that we did, because many did not. And towards the end of the year, we found that not only did we make it through, we have opportunity to grow, because now we have this group of people in the community more year round. And even if folks aren't staying, they are more likely to come up and see the value of the community. And I kind of feel like we're at a place right now to make a few needs assessment, and look at the community and see where our role has, see where we fit as the cultural arts center in Waterville Valley. So before I move forward on to 2021 and beyond, I'd love to have the board say anything that they might want to, as far as, or even public, as just double check in about 2020. It was kind of a really quick year.
Yeah, it was. And, I just want to say, you know, um, it has been amazing to see the changes in the town with the new folks, and it's continuing. We already this year have 23 new full-time residents on top of what we gained for 2020. So we're up to 625 people,
Uh,
which, yes, Steve.
eh, any of those families with younger children?
I believe two new families. I want to say one family was very young children. I think one family did add children to the school.
Good.
I think along that line, the school has done a survey for September of this year, and they're expecting somewhere between 50 and 55 children to come back to the school. So they did get up to 62, but it looks like they'll still be above their maximum number of children that the school was constructed for. So I think it's going to be an ongoing population. I think a lot of folks have fallen in love with the valley in a new way, and just look how well we are doing this meeting, and think about last year at this time, we probably would have been struggling a little bit. But I think business has gone that way as well, and so I think that the valley is going to be more appealing to people. And I would not anticipate that. I definitely don't believe we will ever go back to even the low 500s. I think we're going to see the town continue to maintain or grow. And that's an exciting thing. I was just laughing with the school board today. Be careful what you wish for. And we've been trying to bring new families and children into the school, and new families into the community, and it's working and it's happening. And I think this organization, needs to think about that as well. And how do we continue to grow our youth programming, but also how do we potentially cater to new adult program needs?
Mhm.
And I think I'd really like more of these young families, because there are a lot of them, to come in and enjoy what we do, and design new programs if that's what they want us to do,
Mhm.
and just serve them the way that we've served other parts of our community before. So.
Yeah, so I think that Mark brings up a couple good points, which is that, the folks who are here know what I think, that we are opening a preschool come this fall, which is thrilling. We're already at our max capacity for what we expected to have for the first year, which is 9 children. Though this is the first year, so we will take a look and see what we can do and how we can work with additional folks in the valley. but you know, that's part of what the Ray Center does. The Ray Center, as a cultural arts center, has much more that it can contribute and bring and offer to a community. And as I have been looking at starting the preschool and continuing to be the cultural arts center, our mission remains the same. And so what we need to look at is, who is here now? What do they want? How can we offer programs that people participate in and value? Because nonprofit, the world of nonprofit has changed. The world of philanthropy has changed. The world of small organizations in some ways remains the same, but we have an opportunity to work with folks in another way in this community. And I think that there are a couple things that we are going to kind of look towards making the Ray Cultural Center more effective in the community. And to that point, I think that everybody here has, as I mentioned, I hope that you've had a chance to take a look at our nature and art and movement-based program that we are developing for the preschool students. And our other programs right now, it's kind of, you know, I say we're doing a lot of them. However, our staffing has changed due to COVID. So currently we don't have a regular program person like we have had in the past. So this year, as we look at 2021, we're looking at programs for the summer. Primarily, they will be with early childhood education and the New Hampshire Music Festival. We have 3 great programs planned with them, and I'm so glad that we are able to continue a great relationship with the New Hampshire Music Festival. They are so interested in being in the Valley and being more present even than they are already, and there's some plans in the works that they are very interested in, and I think that we can be a way to really bring that kind of music back into the Valley, or continue to add to what we've been doing, and so I'm excited about that. And otherwise, we need to really do a true needs assessment. We need to look at our target market. We need to focus on the current residents and make sure that we are serving them, we are available to them, and we're still a ski town, you know, so there still is an influx of visitors. We still are a seasonal resort where people come in the summer who don't come in the winter, and it's all opportunity. So as we look at the majority of the folks here this evening are the board, we will be doing board outreach. I am really excited this year to have, since 2020, we have Pam O'Day on our board and Steve Larkin on our board. They were not here last year. And while I speak to that, I would like to share briefly, Larry Young is no longer on our board, and we really want to honor his and Vicki Goldberg's contributions to the Valley, and we are renaming and dedicating the literary discussion group to them. So I want to make sure that gets in there, and just to continue to make sure that we value the pieces of what we do as we move forward. So yes, go ahead.
What's it going to be called?
Well, it needs to incorporate their names. So if we make it very long, but it will have their names in it. I mean, essentially that's what it just needs to be. It will just title them in the literary discussion group. And maybe I can talk with the literary discussion group and see if they have an idea to Larry Young and Vicki Goldberg is long, but they're pretty special. So yeah. And Cheryl, maybe we can talk more about that. That would be great. Thanks. So at this point, I just want to make mention of continued collaborations that the Ray Center is working on. As I mentioned already, the New Hampshire Music Festival, we are really continuing to plan on at least 3 events a year, with potentially additional pieces depending on facilities, depending on what they can do. The New Hampshire Music Festival has a short season, but the executive director there is pretty phenomenal. You know, as she says, she has, you know, she's got some great connections and is really wanting to be present in the Valley. We also are continuing to work with Waterville Elementary School, and unfortunately I had a couple great pictures. We have the kindergartners over in the gardens on Monday, and you know, they're doing what they need to be doing. They're helping us move the dirt for the pollinator garden, and you know, the town was in with their equipment the other day, helping us with the drainage issue, and it's pretty great for kids to watch equipment. So that was a little extra watching from afar, and we are supported also by the Waterville Valley Foundation for a couple pieces this year. We are in the process of building an outdoor pavilion in the community garden that's intended to be a multi-use structure, and we're working with the elementary school. They've helped support it, and the Waterville Valley Foundation has helped support it. And really, the idea is to make the community garden part of the community and get people in there and have it in their wheelhouse of nice places to go, because it's a nice spot. So I'm happy to see that support in the community, and I feel like this last year has given us all more of an opportunity to talk, and it's kind of interesting to me to watch how things have gone with that. So again, thank you. Thanks for helping us make it through 2020, and we've got lots more to do. And at this time,
Great, yeah, let's, can we move on to the financial?
yep. So
All right.
I'm going to, let's see, share my screen and make sure that I give you all the Okay, can everyone see the Ray Cultural Center Annual Report 2020?
Yes.
And Al, if you have unmuted yourself, would like to share, I can scroll down.
Well, I don't have, first question, can people hear me all right? That's number one.
Yes.
Leah, you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. I don't have a pointer for this, so
I do.
et cetera. Let me just, also a point of interest, Mark, the 50-55 students includes or excludes the high school students? I think it
That is
excludes
that's resident students in our elementary school.
school. And and the school budget has to fund the high school students, so the total population is actually higher, I guess.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as has been mentioned, we have come through an exceedingly unusual year, and that being considered, it seems to me we've had a rather good year with a couple of fortuitous things happen. So generally speaking, yeah, Aaliyah, if you could kind of point down to the total revenue lines year to year, now go up. Just the revenue, the 76 to 89. Okay, I should call the line 16. So we can see our revenue was down about $13,000, which I guess, given the environment, that was pretty good. the part of that holding up as well as it did is Leah's put in a considerable amount of time working on obtaining grants. And as you know, you just don't make an application and expect the money to arrive. So Leah has been able to obtain a few small grants that we hadn't historically obtained before. And she'll continue to apply for grants. Whether we receive them or not is unknown. And on the expense side, the major item was that our payroll was down.
So
If
can
you
I
go
just
to
ask
the
a quick
bottom,
question? Alan,
Pardon?
this is Steve. Sorry. Grants look like it's down. Annual fund looks like it's up. I mean, I don't want to, I'm new, but I just want to kind of,
well,
you know, if we're talking about row
they're pulled
9.
from the bookkeeping system, which the classification has been a bit crowded, but Leah
Okay.
could sort of say which we've done. That
Sure.
other is probably a bunch of miscellaneous.
Do you want me to mention that right now?
Yeah, just a sampling of what you've obtained.
Sure. So the line item in other is the odd where bookkeeping has put some of that additional funding. So yes, you are 100% right. We had a good annual fund, and that was really that to me spoke so highly of how people value the Ray Center. That that was really great to see. But that other is some of those smaller funding grants. That's just where that went. You know, the artist in residency, I think that was actually again bookkeeping. We still have to sort a couple of those things out, but that was the most of that was from the Waterville Valley Foundation for our August Art Walk.
Yes, because we didn't have the artist in resident program other than the art walk, right?
Correct.
And so the amount of money, Steve, that would have normally come in, I think if the program had been normal, right, and
Yeah,
we
sure.
actually had an artist in residence, that line item would have been plussed up.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
sorry, I just kind of want to,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a good question. Yeah.
And conversely, we didn't have a grant this last year to pay someone. So looking down at the expenses were down. Payroll was down a little bit. Some other things were down. We did not have the artist in residency, which is a $5,000 item. And, it was the lack of activity more than anything else. So the bottom line was that operationally, we went behind $22,000 versus $35,000 the previous year, which I kind of was surprising. Now, two things happened during this year. Okay. Number one, we got a payroll protection grant for $12,700. Okay. Additionally, we received another, what was it, about $8,000 this year, Leah?
Yeah, 84.
So we over a 2-year period, receiving some $20,000 on this payroll protection issue. I don't think we're going to be asked to substantiate that, but it's going to be a little hard as much as our payroll decreased. Not so much, it was natural attrition. And with the programs being down, we just didn't have the funding. The other thing that's happened in the last couple of years, right above the 12.7, is we have the investment funds. I guess I should say thank you, Mike Capel, for investing these things the way he did a number of years ago. So as we all are aware, the stock market the last 2 years has been remarkably good. And just a couple of things on that. So, but it's unrealistic to think that's going to continue. And we know the PPP loan issue is going to go away. So even though we came out somewhat ahead last year after these items, taking into account, I think we know that some of it is not going to be reoccurring. Although we should be more than fine, we do have the issue of continuing to battle fundraising. And because of the situation, et cetera, I don't think we have a sort of a plan in place except the annual normal mailings, et cetera. So that needs to be pursued more. Now the restrictions seem to be going away. Not only will be that true for us, but the resort in general. The complexion of how this is going to work out through is going to change quite a bit over the next 3 months. So at the end of the day, we're somewhat better off at the end of 2020 than at 19, substantially because of the stock market and the PPP loans, the payroll protection loans. And we have not touched any of our investment funds. Now, I double checked today, just as a case in point, the difference between December 31st and April 30th, and our overall resources were down about $3,000 or $4,000 for this 4-month period, which is not particularly much, particularly since it's kind of a dormant period. So we're in reasonably good shape. We have 2 sort of experimental programs. We don't know quite what the net outcome will be, both for the summer camp and the preschool program. Programming will increase this year. And I guess it comes around, we need to figure out a way to more consistently raise funds on the membership annual fund or other programs more consistently. And that's pretty much it.
Well, I think we're poised right now with the current board and some of our community members to begin looking at regular kinds of fundraising, more similar to what the Ray Center has done in the past. And I think that that we are not operating in the same time. As I mentioned before, the philanthropy has changed. But I think that we have some great opportunities, and we can look forward to making the most of that. I'm looking at you, Steve. So Steve's heading up our fundraising committee with regard to that aspect. So thank you.
May I also add, the first part of this year, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat and not an investor type person. And we move part of the investment funds, about half of the stock portfolio, into a money market account, which means we kind of missed a little bit of the good this year. On the other hand, our endowment, such as it is, it's kind of fixed. So we could not afford the idea of losing 20% if the market goes that way. So I played it a bit cautious, unlike other institutions where there's a continuing growth in endowments and contributions and things of that nature. That's not our situation. So we're playing a little bit close to the vest, but not without risk. We still have risk depending on the market. And I just want to make that people aware of that. I don't know what the right answer is. I guess we're sort of taking a middle ground at the moment.
You know, Leah and I spoke the other day, and we're really excited about, you know, some fundraising opportunities here in the Valley. But I think more importantly, we're really looking at capturing the attention of many of the families that have been here for a long time. And just getting them back involved, and letting them know kind of what we're doing. So, Alan, I think like when you speak about the annual fund, I'm up for the challenge, and I'm excited to figure out, you know, through the small committee that we have, mainly with the families that are going to be participating with the preschool, that I think there's a great opportunity to capture some funds in this valley right now. You know, I'm friendly with a lot of families that have sold their home recently in Massachusetts and are here, and you know, it would be great to ask them for a good percentage of that sale. But I think, you know, just getting the engagement and really getting, you know, the attention back. And I think Mark spoke about it earlier. There's a lot of younger families here. And, you know, I know my wife early on when we moved here in 2019 went to Woman's Night Out, and she came back and she was laughing and saying, you know, that there is a huge group of older women and there's a handful of younger women. And I think now that there is a tremendous amount of younger women that probably outweigh the older community members that have been here. So, you know, what is it that we can do? Is there a paint night that we can do? And, you know, some type of, I think that we really have a blank slate right now. And Leah and a few of us are really excited to push that forward and capture that engagement and really get people involved to what the Ray Center can do. You know, Leah and I worked a lot from October until, you know, now meeting on a regular basis. And I do want to say that, you know, I'm really proud of this program, the preschool that we're putting forth this fall. My wife and I moved here for our children, and we both had great jobs in Boston, but we just said, this isn't for us. Let's go to a better place. And Waterville is a program, is a place that was near and dear to both of us. She started the snowboard program here with Bill Enos. She's been pretty successful on a snowboard, competing in 2 Olympics, Torino and Vancouver. So we know a little bit about starting programs here in the Valley, and we're super excited, and we hope that we can build on it and really, you know, capture that attention of many of the families to support what we can build going forward. You know, so Alan, I look forward to helping build this annual fund.
And I think that brings us, you know, kind of full circle, Steve, is that really we can talk. Obviously, we're an organization. We need to have financial support, but really what we need to do is be a resource for the community, you know, and
Right.
that's what it comes down to. And yes, business is important. You know, we need to be able to pay staff. We need to be able to be in operation, but we need to be able to give the Valley more. And so I want to make one note on that, because membership has come up a little bit, and I want to just let this group know that moving forward, we are not going to, at least for this year, have a membership drive. We are going to be grateful and recognize our supporters. But as we look at the role we fill, we need to kind of see how that plays out and be in communication with people. And so for now, our regular membership drive will be on hold. But as people support us with donations however they see fit, whether it's regard to or in response to our annual fund, in response to a program sponsorship, in response to wanting to be part of the organization. We will be recognizing those people both in print and online, so that we can let people know that they are appreciated and really vital. You know, if you look at what how our finances work, we are significantly supported by the town, but a quarter of our budget is only a quarter of our budget. There are 3/4 of our budget that need to be supported by sponsorships, by grants, by fundraising, and the community needs to do that for us. And thankfully, our community involves both Waterville Valley and beyond. You know, we've got supporters from all over the country because they have connected with the valley. So that is something that's the engagement that Steve is talking about. We have some of it, and we just now can really see more of those folks and work with people who may not be familiar with the Race Center yet. So I think that we are in a really great situation. I'm thrilled to be a part of the community and have the Race Center be part of the community and more of it. So thanks.
Good, okay. Any other questions or comments from the board or from our one remaining member of the public here as we kind of wrap up? All right, well, great. Again, that all that you have, Leah? You all set?
Yep, and just to let folks know that this meeting will be posted online and available for review if anybody would like to share with other members of the community.
Good. Well, thank you, board members. I look forward to continuing on this summer. I really want to get the summer programs off the ground and continue our planning for September and the start of the preschool program. It's really exciting. And all the other programming that we have planned, and we're working, the road crew, DPW was in, and we got the drainage in so we're ready to construct the pavilion. I think it's going to be great to have that added to our facilities, and we'll keep going little steps at a time, and we'll keep making it a better place to be and recreate and add to the valley. So
yeah, and I did just want to say also that the remodeling of the cottage is going great.
Right.
Abode has been in and made some of the necessary changes to get the building properly set up for the programs moving forward, and it's really fun to see how that's going to work with the flow of future programming, both for youth and adults.
Yep. Great. Okay. Well, thank you. Yes.
One question, sorry, Mark, one question. And this might be more focused towards town. But is there any, do we want to, my kids just escaped from the house, so they might jump in. Marketing, anything big picture we can do for we're continue to do to really let them know that there's a preschool going to be here in the valley. When we saw, back in April, the shared opinion article that was written by Lay Leon, there was one family actually, and it kind of, I was happy they wrote that, but they said that there was an intention for them to move here at one point. But unfortunately, because there was no preschool for their younger kids, it didn't make sense for them to move here. And they said, wow, we really wish that, this started, a while back. It's here, it's now, we've got it. Do we want to meet with, the realtor's chip and so on, and talk to them and say, like, how are they marketing this and how are they going to share the message that families that, now hopefully, with COVID here, they're working remote. Why not work remote from Waterville Valley?
Mhm. Well, I think that's a great idea, and we have a member of the Board of Selectmen that is one of the realtors in town, so.
Yep.
um, So I think that's a good strategy, and we certainly can add it to the discussion that the selectmen have, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I
Right.
think, Steve, part of our conversation next week with the Holistic Impact Foundation, who's working with us on the preschool, is going to be part of that marketing
great.
piece. So that will be nice to
Good.
be able to share with the community.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right,
Thank you.
Pam, Elizabeth, you're all set? All right, well,
Thank
thank you
you.
again. Really appreciate it, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn. If someone wants to make it.
All right.
All right, Steve, I heard your voice, Steve. I'm going to take that as a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All right.
So I
All
have a
right.
motion. Let's adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening.